Your little one is sitting in the corner of the room, engaged in a lively conversation. No one else is there. You step closer and catch fragments of words. Suddenly your child laughs. Then they say calmly, "She, Mama's watching." You freeze. Most parents smile, assuming it's a harmless phase. But cognitive developmental scientists have spent decades studying this behavior. What they discover doesn't merely explain imaginary friends, it fundamentally changes how we understand the developing mind. The common explanation: children invent imaginary friends because they are lonely, bored, or can't distinguish fantasy from reality. It sounds logical, but research published in developmental psychology shows this theory falls short. Children with imaginary companions are not more socially isolated. In fact, the data reveals the opposite. Studies find they score higher on social understanding, empathy, and reading emotions. Far from retreating from social reality, they are actively practicing it. When researchers examined what children were doing during those conversations, the findings stopped the field in its tracks. Your child is not confused about reality. They are engaged in something far more sophisticated, something even advanced AI cannot replicate. Psychologist Marjorie Taylor and her team at the University of Oregon conducted a landmark study tracking 152 children. By age 7, approximately 65% of children had created at least one imaginary friend. Not a small minority, but the clear majority. Taylor's analysis revealed something profound. These interactions resemble what adults do when mentally preparing for high-stakes social situations. Children were running sophisticated social simulations. They created controllable partners whose responses they could script and manage. Research at the University of Zurich confirmed that children with imaginary friends show advanced development in theory of mind. This is the crucial cognitive ability to understand that other people have thoughts, feelings, and perspectives different from one's own. Theory of mind forms the foundation of empathy, diplomacy, and every complex social interaction. Your child is actively building this capacity. The roots of this behavior appear even earlier. In the first year of life, babies begin tracking invisible agents. They respond to empty spaces, practicing proto-conversations with objects that cannot reply. What looks like random babbling in a 6-month hold is actually the earliest version of the same sophisticated process. But the role of imaginary friends goes far beyond social practice. Neuroscientists have discovered something unique to the developing brain. Researchers at Harvard's Graduate School of Education show that constructing narratives is one of the most powerful ways a young brain builds cognitive architecture. When a child invents an imaginary companion, they are not simply daydreaming. They are creating a consistent character with distinct traits. They maintain this character across days, weeks, or even years, carefully tracking what the friend knows versus what they themselves know. Neuroscientist Dina Weisberg at Drexel University found that engaging with pretend scenarios significantly elevates activity in the prefrontal cortex. This is the brain region responsible for planning, working memory, emotional regulation, and executive function. Remarkably, this is the same region and activity strengthened by face-to-face interactions with caregivers during infancy. The eye contact, back-and-forth exchanges, and patient waiting you do with your baby lay the neural pathways that the imaginary friend later activates. There is another dimension that receives less attention outside academic circles. In 2019, researchers at Durham University interviewed adults. Many reported that their imaginary friend had felt entirely real to them, not as a hallucination, but as a genuine subjective presence. The companion served as a safe space for emotional processing, a place to rehearse difficult conversations, and a private outlet for feelings. Cognitive scientist Alison Gopnik offers another fascinating perspective. Young children do not experience the boundary between imagination and reality. This is not because they are confused, but because their brains are structured differently. The prefrontal cortex is not yet fully mature. As a result, they operate with a wider, less filtered perceptual field. They notice more. They remain open to more. Gopnik describes the infant and toddler brain as closer to a state of flow, the same heightened state that adult meditators cultivate. When your child insists someone is in the corner, they may not be imagining in the adult sense. They may be perceiving something. The science does not claim to know exactly what that something is, but it confirms that the child's experience of it is entirely genuine. Finally, long-term studies offer perhaps the most important insight for parents. The 2017 meta-analysis in child development reached a clear conclusion. Children allowed to develop imaginary companions freely, without redirection or dismissals, showed measurably better outcomes. These outcomes included creativity, emotional resilience, and social competence by middle childhood. The common parental instinct to gently discourage imaginary friends is not supported by the evidence. The imaginary friend is not a replacement for real relationships. It is a rehearsal room for them. When you ask what their imaginary friend thinks, when you set an extra plate, you are not indulging fantasy. You are sending a powerful message. Your child's inner world is real, valid, and worth taking seriously. That message helps them grow into someone who extends the same respect to the inner worlds of others. You did not create a lonely child.
No.
You created enough safety and trust that your toddler feels confident populating their world. This is not a red flag. It is healthy brain development in action. And it began with the loving interactions you shared. Of course, there is an important distinction to watch for. A healthy imaginary friend is one the child chooses, plays with, and sometimes blames for mischief. It remains fluid and creative, and the child maintains an underlying awareness that it exists within their imagination. What warrants attention is a child who seems genuinely distressed by a presence, appears frightened, or speaks with compulsion. In those cases, consult your pediatrician. Early support can make a significant difference. If your child has an imaginary friend, the science is clear. Let it run its natural course. You are witnessing one of the most remarkable feats of cognitive and emotional development in early childhood. If you want to understand why babies sometimes laugh at empty corners, that will be the topic of the next video. The neuroscience behind it is even stranger than you might expect.